Games analysis refers to the collection of relevant data and details of performance to enable the coach or athlete to gain an understanding of the level of skill in the position the athlete has. This term, I have participated in volleyball. Evaluations of my performance were made to justify the position best suited for my abilities, temperaments, and preferences, and also justify what training would be most effective to improve my performance in the position selected. Through a mesocycle, I saw much improvement across the short frame of time allowed this term in the skills needed at the position selected. This was shown through the observations of both the statistics and gameplay of two separate matches. Through the initial testing and also through previous experience, the position selected was setter. In the early stages of the term, I was tasked with undertaking drills isolating specific aspects of performance to evaluate the skills I was most proficient at, which could help justify my selection. Drills including hitting, setting, passing, and blocking. By analyzing the results, it was clear that my setting and passing scores heavily outweighed my hitting scores, which showed a clear indication of the best position to choose. My decision to select setter also could be justified through the individual level of Figaro's framework. The individual level concerns our own values, attitudes, and beliefs. This could ultimately drive our sporting selections. Genetic predisposition associates with the specific genetic makeup that we are born to. Genetic predisposition is often difficult or impossible to change. As a shorter player, it is made much more difficult to reach over the net to block, which is much more important to a middle blocker. The same is also true for the ability to rise up and swing at the ball like a pass hit. Setters are more often slightly shorter players on a volleyball court, with average setters being around 195 centimeters, in comparison to a middle blocker who on average stands over 205 centimeters. It is because of the inability to grow 10 centimeters in the span of 4 weeks that my access to the other two positions was limited, due to the disadvantage I would place myself under as a result of being unable to engage the common skills effectively. I evaluated that it would be easier to train for a position my height is more associated in. Due to my previous experience in the position from the TAS Seconds volleyball team, I am already in the associative stage, where the performer can successfully associate the relevant skills with the situations presented. This provides me with an advantage as I am already able to competently play the setting position. The decision to play setter was easily made and justified for me, which allowed for a more focus on the improvements of myself and my teammates. At the beginning of the training cycle, a game was played between the two class teams to gain an understanding of the players' skill levels. The observations from this game were used to justify the aspects of the game that my drills would target in the coming weeks of training. Through statistical observation, where direct statistical game proceedings are recorded throughout the game, my performance for the position selected shows an adequate level of skill. This is reflected through my own individual statistics taken during the game. Most importantly, my assist numbers, which relate most to my position. Due to previous experience, I was able to competently play, which helped my team score points. However, improvements could be made. Through statistics alone, it was here where I could then analyze not just my individual performance, but the overall performance of my team, which is a combination of both. It becomes clear very quickly through observations of the initial performance that there are varying levels of skill across the team in accordance with the technique and overall understanding of the game. I would often have to run across the court to set the ball because of poor passing that was a direct result of this. Poor passing negatively impacted not only my ability to set and gain assists, but the hitter's ability to get an accurate hit on the ball. The analysis of the game also made it clear that I needed to set the ball higher to give the hitters more time to hit the ball accurately within the court. If I was unable to manage this, the hitters would not have adequate time to hit the ball at their full potential, which would limit our overall scoring abilities. Through the analysis of this game, it was clear that both my own individual performance through my setting technique, as well as the team's overall basic understanding of the game and each other, would require training to gain improvement. Without any training, our team would not have the abilities to play in the 4 versus 4 setting, which is clearly shown through the analysis of the game footage, which justified the trainings that would benefit my own improvement and the rest of the team's. In order to improve my performance, a training program in the form of a mesocycle would be the most effective method to structure my training. A mesocycle is broken into periods of 4 weeks to focus on specific aspects of training. Due to heavy time constraints, this cycle was confined into 3 weeks. The program was considered as in season. Each week was preparation for the measurable progress each Friday in the form of class versus class games, and in the last week of school that acted as a final observation for my abilities. Measurable progress is included in the training program, as it is a direct way to measure my improvement across the term as a result of my training. Being able to see how I improved in my setting, as well as the whole team overall figured out how to work together, was really beneficial to directly observe the benefits of our trainings. These were taken through observations on the game by Miss Hancock, who would often provide tips on how I could best improve my setting to help the hitters get points. Through the improvements made as a result of this, made the measurable progress a justified aspect of the mesocycle. In the selection of my drills, I focused on helping myself and my technique, but also the rest of my team as well. Drills such as my setting transitioning drills would help train my movement patterns. Movement patterns associate with particular movements strung together to achieve an objective. The objective is clearly to set the ball for the hitter after transitioning from the blocking position. I chose to use my training for this drill so that my transitioning into the setting would improve. It was also a form of building team cohesion, which is the team's desire to work together to achieve a goal. The more we trained together, the more we enjoyed playing with each other. We each gained an understanding of one another as a result of working together to improve as a team. This drill was effective in allowing all the players to gain clarity of their roles within the team. It is important to identify the individual skills and qualities of each player to link with their specific roles within the team. Through the drill, it became clear to the members of the team who were the hitters and who were the setters. By constantly setting the ball to my hitters, we understood each other much more. When we came into a game, I would be able to set the ball to where they needed it for the most effective hit. Another necessity for our team's improvement noted in the first game was our passing. Without an accurate pass, our entire attack breaks down. Simply adding a passing element to many drills, such as throwing them the ball to pass it up to the setter, helped. A drill that was useful, however, was the 3-pass drill, where 3 passers would stand in a line and have a ball constantly served at them. Each player would have to pass the ball accurately into the front court and then rotate. The goal was to achieve 3 perfect passes in a row. Failure to do so would result in a repeat of the drill until the 3 passes in a row were achieved. A common goal brought motivation to the group to finish the drill as quickly as possible. This motivation improved our team's focus on the drill, which allowed for us to effectively move through it with minimal stops. Focus is a feeling of pinpoint concentration. This focus on our technique encouraged a higher level of improvement throughout the team that ultimately showed in the stats. By encouraging motivation within the team, it justified this training as an aspect of the mesocycle that would help our team improve. My own time was allocated to strength and finite technique-based drills. The most effective way to get power in your set is through the legs rather than the arms, which is why drills that build explosive power are used to increase my leg drive. More power through my legs would allow for a further push to set the ball across the court to the pass hit. This was achieved by engaging in box jumps and tempo squats. These exercises were very effective, as throughout the program I saw major improvements in my leg drive. Then setting the ball to a wall, making sure to focus on the positioning of my hands and observing how the ball reacts to my set also. This helped train my technique so that in the games, the ball floats cleanly for the hitters to get all their power behind the ball. The mesocycle ultimately was designed to target the most important aspects of both my individual performance and the rest of our team to improve our overall skill levels. Over the course of the training program, improvement became clear to see in both my individual performances and my teammates. The most obvious improvement is clear in the passing from everyone in the backcourt. In observations of the game, it is shown that I did not have to chase the ball across the court nearly as much to set. This enabled for a much more fluent play on attacking possessions, highlighting the effectiveness on the focus placed on passing. This refined the gross motor skills, which are movements that require the whole body. The training set aside to work on passing was effective in enhancing our passing skills, ultimately improving our overall performance. This justifies it as a good use of our training program. Improvement is also noted in my setting. I am now able to consistently place accurate sets for our hitters to get behind. This is evident in the statistics as my assist totals doubled from 6 to 12. The improvement in my setting is attributed to a number of different aspects of my training program, due to the high focus I place upon it as my position's main role. Credit for such a strong increase in my setting ability should be given to my home time, which was spent on dropping right to the basics, drilling the basic techniques of setting into my head until it became almost second nature, allowing for concentration on the court to be directed at other aspects of the game, such as where the space is on the court and who best to set to put the ball in that space. Concentration is the level of attention that the performer is paying to the task at hand, and is very crucial for setters as the position often leads the play. This established my time spent at home focusing on the fundamentals of the setting technique as an effective use of my time. As a recommendation, there was not nearly enough time provided to the team to effectively come together to improve to a point of being able to effectively compete in a competitive setting. In future, less strict time constraints would be very useful to build upon the mesocycle and focus on more skills to improve overall performance. Serving would also be worked into the training cycle. However, due to the strict constraints on time, sacrifices for other important skills needed to be made. In comparison, serving was not as necessary as other skills. Despite this, my overall improvements can be shown in the statistical analysis of both games. In comparison, I saw a 20% increase in total points directly involving myself. Already having a high input on the game for my team, and then increasing it even further, shows massive improvement of not just myself, but my teammates, who were able to score off my sets. My training program was heavily effective in improving both my own individual performance and my team's overall ability to work together to achieve victory. My skills in volleyball at the beginning of the training program, while passable, needed heavy refinement to consider myself as an effective player. My abilities were heavily improved in the setting position by the training program I constructed. The careful considerations in my selection of the position enabled me to effectively create drills suited best for my improvement, which enhanced and refined my skills considerably for the limited time allocated for the program. The analysis of one's performance within a game can be extremely effective in justifying the training required to seek the best improvement for the athlete.